Welcome back, traders, to another market preview. Now, before we get started, I would like to ask you to help support me by hitting that like button and hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my next video. And let's go ahead and get started. Here I have the dollar index pulled up on the weekly chart. And as you can see, last week we had a really big rally. We respected the weekly inverted fair value gap, and we went up into the order block that I had mentioned. Now, because we closed so strongly above that order block, I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of this. My new target is going to be this high up here. I'm looking for the draw on liquidity to come up into there. And we'll get a little bit more detail as we go into the daily chart. We could get some sort of retracement, but we'll have to check that out in the lower time frames. So here we are on the daily chart, and as you can see, price went up and swept above this high right here just by a little bit. So I'm expecting price could have some sort of retracement back into this daily fair value gap. So let me go ahead and adjust this. Now, if price does come back to this fair value gap, I only really want to see it stay in the upper half of this fair value gap. And I'm keeping a close eye on this up candle right here. I do not want to see this up candle violated. So we could see a retracement up here, but you can see that ultimately my draw on liquidity are above these highs. Now moving on to S&P 500, this is the micro contract on the daily chart. And as you can see, we have the weekly fair value gap right here, and it was being respected by most of the bodies of last week's candles. So we also swept down and took out the sell side liquidity below this low here, this low here, and this low here. And you can see that this was the order block I was looking at. It did get violated, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And going into next week, I am going to be looking for lower prices below these relative lows here and back into an imbalance. Now, just like with the dollar index, we could see sort of a retracement, maybe in the lower time frame, maybe in the hourly chart. I'm not going to go into that here, but just keep in mind that we could see some retracement. But I do expect that this weekly fair value gap will be our last line of defense as resistance. Here we have the Nasdaq micros on the daily chart. And as you can see, last week was pretty choppy. We have like a expanding range kind of formation here. But as you can see, the daily fair value gap here was being respected. You can see all the bodies staying within this fair value gap. So kind of like with ES, I am looking for lower prices below these relative lows right here. And I'm definitely looking for a market structure shift below this swing low. Now, if we do get that, I will be looking at lower prices below the this swing low for sell side liquidity and this low right here back into an inefficiency. But you can see that unlike ES, we do have like these really relatively close highs up here. So more chances on Nasdaq than S&P to come up and sweep above these highs once again. But I really don't want to see that. I really want to see this daily fair value gap here hold as the resistance. And as you can see back, not last week, but the week before, we did violate the order block right here. So I am expecting lower prices. Perhaps on a lower time frame, you can find some sort of setup. That's all I got for you guys for this week. Like this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on next week's video. Also, I am going to be putting out a new prop firm video for Earn to Trade, so watch out for that as well. And until next time, guys, good luck trading.